On November 30th, 2022, OpenAI hit publish on a little chatbot called ChatGPT. Most people thought it was a fun toy. A few people saw a blueprint. And in the 3 years since that one upload, one company, just one, went from being worth $345 billion to being worth $4.4 trillion. That's not a typo. And that's just one stock. While you were worried about AI stealing your job, something else was quietly happening. The largest single transfer of wealth in modern history. Not in a bank vault, not in the dark. Right in front of your face. And most people completely missed it. Every heist has a crew. Let me introduce you to the players. NVIDIA shareholders. When ChatGPT launched, NVIDIA was worth $345 billion. Today, $4.4 trillion. Its stock has surged over 1,100% since 2022. $1,000 invested on the day ChatGPT launched is now worth over $10,700. In less than 3 years. AI startups. There are now nearly 500 private AI companies, called unicorns, each valued at over $1 billion. Their combined value? $2.7 trillion, and 100 of them were founded after 2023. 20 billionaires, just 20 people, made nearly $500 billion in 2025 alone from AI investments. Oracle's Larry Ellison? He personally pocketed $140 billion in 2025. $140 billion in 1 year. And then there are the Magnificent Seven. Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Tesla. They now make up roughly 1/3 of the entire S&P 500. 1/3 of America's stock market. 7 companies. Now you know the crew. Let me show you the plan. Let's say your name is Alex. Alex earns $75,000 a year doing data analysis at a mid-sized company. Alex is good at the job. Alex has been there 6 years. Then the CFO discovers an AI tool that does 80% of what Alex does. For $2,000 a month. Alex gets let go, and the company saves $51,000 a year. Now multiply that by 1,000 Alexas across the company. That's $51 million going straight to the company's bottom line. Profit margins expand. Wall Street cheers. Stock price rises 8%. The CEO, who holds $50 million worth of stock, just made $4 million over a lunch break. Alex, meanwhile, with zero stock ownership, makes $0 in gains. In fact, Alex is now at the unemployment office. This is not hypothetical. This is the actual mechanism. Tech layoffs in 2024 alone cut more than 150,000 jobs across 542 companies. Tesla, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Snap, all laying off workers, all with record AI-related profits. The productivity gains from AI are real. The question is, who keeps them? Okay, let's do the actual math, because the math is where this gets genuinely uncomfortable. NVIDIA alone added $2.9 trillion in market value since ChatGPT launched. $2.9 trillion. Created for shareholders. The top 1% of Americans, just the top 1%, now own 50% of all corporate stocks. In dollar terms, that's $29 trillion sitting in the portfolios of the wealthiest Americans. Zoom out to the top 10%. They hold 87% of all stocks in America, valued at $44 trillion. That silver sliver, that's the remaining 90% of Americans, sharing 13% of stock market wealth. And just to hammer this home, the top 10% of Americans now account for 50% of all consumer spending. 3 decades ago, it was 36%. Here's where the 847 times comes from. AI stocks have returned, on average, 139% per year since 2022. The average American worker's wage growth? About 4% per year. Divide those, adjust for stock ownership concentration, and you get a wealth acceleration gap of 847 times. That's not editorial spin. That's arithmetic. Here's the twist in our heist movie. There is no villain. Nobody broke a law. Nobody hacked a vault. Nobody even lied. This isn't a conspiracy. It's math. It's a system working exactly as designed. AI creates productivity gains. Productivity gains reduce the need for workers. Fewer workers means lower labor costs. Lower costs mean higher profit margins. Higher margins drive stock prices up. Stock price gains flow to whoever owns the stocks. And here's the structural fact that changes everything. The top 10% of Americans own 87% of the stocks. The bottom 50% of Americans own basically nothing. The question has never been whether AI creates wealth. It absolutely does. The question is, whose hands is that wealth landing in? And the data gives you a very uncomfortable answer. So, the heist. When does it end? It doesn't end unless the rules of the game change. But here's what I want you to understand. The fact that you just watched this video puts you ahead of 95% of people. Most people are angry about AI because they think it's about robots taking jobs. But the smarter threat, the one playing out right now, is structural. It's about who owns the tools. You can't own OpenAI, it's private. You can't own the VC funds that got in early. But here's what you can do. 1. Understand the mechanism. AI productivity gains flow to capital. Not labor, not consumers. Capital. Knowing this is step 1. 2. Get on the right side of the equation. The wealth gap between people who own assets and people who don't is accelerating. The AI era isn't slowing that down, it's turbocharging it. Index funds, long-term investing. Getting into the market, however you can. These aren't get-rich-quick schemes. They're the table you need a seat at. 3. Follow the actual money, not the hype. AI infrastructure spending by tech giants went from $100 billion in 2023 to over $300 billion in 2025. And it could hit $500 billion within years. The money isn't in the chatbots. It's in the pipes, the chips, the data centers, the power infrastructure. The heist is ongoing. The vault is still open. And for the first time in economic history, you can watch the whole thing happen in real time. The only question is what you do with that information. If this video made you think differently about what AI actually means for your financial future, that's the whole point. I made a full breakdown of the 5 AI infrastructure plays that even small investors can access. Links in the description. And if you want more videos like this one, subscribe, because this is just chapter 1. The next video, we're going inside the VC world that funded OpenAI before any of us had heard of it. You're going to want to see that.